Hi, thanks for joining us for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. I'm Chris Cooper. The tomatoes are coming on and we have a great recipe for them. Also, growing plants under a tree can be tricky. Growing on steep slopes can be too. That's just ahead on the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South.
Production funding for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South is provided by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Family Plot. I'm Chris Cooper. Joining me today is Kathy Faust. Miss Kathy is a UT Extension agent right here in Shelby County. And Carol Reese is here. Miss Carol is an ornamental horticulture specialist, UT Extension. Thanks for being here, ladies.
Thank you.
Glad
Thanks
to be
for
here.
having us.
All right, Miss Kathy,
Yeah.
you're going to prepare something for us today.
Yes.
We can't wait. We brought our appetites too, just in case.
yes.
All right, just in
Good,
case. So what would you be preparing for us today?
This is a chicken tomato tortellini,
All right.
and it is easy to make, so I
Okay.
guess we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay. I like easy.
Oh,
Oh,
I do
yes.
too.
I like chicken and I like tomatoes, so this should be
Nothing
good.
in here to dislike.
I do too. So we've gone
Good
ahead
stuff.
and melted our butter. I wish I could say that this is a low-cal recipe, but when you add a tablespoon of butter and it's 100 calories, there's nothing low-cal about this. But I just like the way tomatoes and
Butter's healthy fat.
Oh,
they
it
say
is,
now.
it
is.
Yeah, they do say that.
and then we're going to add 2 medium fresh tomatoes.
Tomatoes look good.
Oh, thank
goodness.
you. These are big boy tomatoes.
Okay.
And okay, here's an example of the big boy tomato.
And a lot of people around this area, of course, they grow the big boys.
Oh,
They sure do.
yes, yes. A friend and I have a garden plot out at Bartlett Senior Center,
Oh, cool.
and she and I are growing these big boy tomatoes.
Oh, cool, okay.
So we've added our tomatoes, and then we're going to add about a cup of fresh spinach. And you know, summertime is a great time for people who are dieting. Now, I know adding the butter didn't make this a diet dish, but if you like tomatoes and spinach, you can really have a healthy
Isn't that
color.
pretty?
Doesn't
I
I
was just thinking
love the way
it looks
that
good
looks.
together. It sure does.
Those are those Italian flag colors, red and green. So we're going to stir that in and just adjust your skillet. And then we're going to add some fresh basil. And I have a little basil plant on my kitchen windowsill. And it says always add this at the very last minute because you want it to be
What's
nice
that
and
last
fresh.
thing in the center there?
This
Uh-huh.
is our fresh garlic.
Oh.
So we're going to add that too. And ideally, I would be chopping that at the last minute for peak flavor, but I went ahead and chopped it early this morning.
It's always starting to smell good.
Oh, yes. I love the way it smells. Okay. So we're going to stir this together. And while this is simmering, I'm going to go ahead and whip up our sauce. Now, even though tomatoes only have 22 calories per tomato, spinach
Really?
has about 22 calories per cup. When we add 3/4 of a cup heavy cream, that's 600
Heavy
calories.
cream. Yeah.
I like to
Wow.
look up my caloric content. And 3/4 of a cup milk, which would be about 120 calories.
We've got to support the dairy industry.
That's right.
Yeah.
And okay, what I did not forget the milk. What I did, I added the milk to this.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, it was just ease in transporting. So in here we have 3/4 of a cup heavy cream, and then I add 3/4 of a cup of 2% milk.
So far, it looks like I can do this.
Oh, sure you can. This is so easy. And there were over 1,000 comments on this recipe. And one thing that I like, let's say if you have children and they don't, oh, I'm not going to eat raw tomatoes, or I don't want spinach. If you add this, a lot of times they really don't notice the tomatoes.
I missed, did you put flour?
Yeah, 2 tablespoons of flour,
sorry.
or you can use cornstarch.
Okay.
Now, several of the comments people made, some of them used low-fat milk or skim milk or half and half. I've tried it. The best thing you can use is this heavy whipping cream. So we're going to go ahead and whisk all that together.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it doesn't make a real pretty color, but that's okay. It looks kind of orangey. And we're going to stir this into our spinach tomato mixture. Just spoon that on in.
wow.
Okay, now the color is not that great. And you can add shrimp or chicken, ground meat. I tried it with shrimp, and I just did not care for it quite so much. But we're going to go ahead and stir this in, and the flour should cause it to thicken up a little bit. We should let this simmer
Take a minute.
for about 2 minutes. After this cooks down for about 2 minutes, we're going to add our Parmesan cheese, and it said add salt and pepper. What I'm using is chicken from the deli, and you can buy these deli roasted chickens
We
at your
do.
big
I
box
know.
store.
We sure do.
And what you do is you buy one of these roasted chickens, debone it,
Okay.
and oh gosh, you can use it for several meals. I added 1/2 cup grated Parmesan cheese. Okay. Gosh,
Yeah, that's really thickening it up.
That's looking good.
look how thick it is. And then you're going to add I added a little more than 1 cup chopped deli chicken, and it had a little bit of sauce on it, so I'm just going to put that in. Make it even better.
It will be even better.
Stir that in. Oh,
It'll
yeah.
be even better.
I served this to a group we had last week, and I mean, the casserole was gone.
Really?
It was gone very, very
Well, I can
quickly.
see why, Miss Kathy. I mean, it looks good.
Yeah. Now let me tell you about the tortellini.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to transport tortellini without it getting sticky. When the package says cook for 3 minutes, they are not kidding.
So
Really?
it's just
They-
3 minutes.
Oh,
right?
just
'Cause
three,
it's-
because the first time I tried it, I cooked it for 6 minutes and it just fell apart.
Okay.
It
That's good.
absolutely
Well, that's good to know. That's
fell
good
apart.
information.
So what we're going to do, we're going to try to add this. I'll just do it this way. Yeah. Yeah. We'll just stir that in. Yeah. A lot of the reviews said that their children will eat this. They don't realize that they're eating spinach and tomatoes.
I'm sure.
Can you believe how easy that was? And it freezes well.
Yeah, all of those sound good to add
Yeah.
with it. My goodness.
The only thing is, if you're going to freeze it, undercook your tortellini just a tiny bit. This is cheese tortellini because once you freeze it, it is going to be a little mushier. Okay. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
And that's all. That took less than 5 minutes to put
Wow,
together.
that's
didn't it?
amazing.
Thank you. I didn't add
Yeah,
the
I think you got
pepper.
everything added, right.
Would anyone like some pepper?
Sure.
I want some pepper to
Pepper's
it.
fine.
And I didn't add sugar. I didn't add salt because the chicken already has a lot of salt.
Probably
in
the
it.
cheese tortellini has some in there too.
Now, Miss Kathy, you think we can get a taste of that?
You sure can. I just happen to have brought
Alright.
some plates here.
And we do want
And
folks to know that they
forks.
can get this recipe on familyplotgarden.com.
Yes, yes. And again, it's called chicken tomato tortellini.
Thank you.
Okay.
Kathy,
here
I'm
we
assuming you want some too.
go. Oh yeah, I'm going to try some too.
Here, Chris.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we want the camera crew to have some.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ain't she such a
Quite
professional?
welcome.
I know it.
Oh,
Like
thank
she's
you. I
done this
mean, after
before, right?
28
Oh, you're
years,
good.
gosh, I should be. Thank you.
Okay.
There you are. And we'll make some for
Everybody
our
to
camera
taste.
crew. Is it hot all the way through? I hope it is.
Wow.
It's quite hot.
Oh, good.
Miss
We
Kathy,
want it hot.
That is good. We
Oh,
definitely
thank
appreciate you coming on and
Chris.
doing this recipe. Thank you much.
Thank you for having
Really
me.
good.
All right. July 13th is this year's summer celebration at the West Tennessee Ag Research and Education Center in Jackson, Tennessee. Here's some of the classes and events going on that day. All right, Ms. Carol, let's talk about growing under trees. How difficult is that?
Well, it can be very difficult. There's a lot of challenges to growing under trees. Shade, first and foremost, because plants we know need sunlight. But to me, one of the great challenges is the competition from the tree roots.
Right.
So people you know, they want to come in and bring a load of topsoil.
They sure do.
And that's not good for trees.
Right.
Tree roots do need oxygen, so you need to be thinking about, yes, I do agree we need some sort of substrate there for those plants to get purchase, but I bring in something very light and fluffy.
Okay.
In this area, it might be gin trash. You might find some composted sawdust if you have mills near you. Any kind of light, fluffy, composted type soil is great to bring in and help get those plants established. And I'll just mound it up a bit.
Okay.
And put the plants in there. And then remember, they're going to have lots of water because that light, fluffy soil is going to dry out quickly. Plus, the tree roots are sucking the moisture. Trees, you know, steal all that water and moisture. It's really important to, if you do want to till some, and I really don't. I don't recommend that you go in there and till up those tree roots. Though some people will, to kind of put it in their little pocket, and it can handle that. It can manage that. But how much disturbance can a tree handle? To me, a general rule of thumb, or even if I'm going to cover up tree roots for some reason, is if I can keep it less than 30% of that tree root area, then that tree's going to be able to handle it.
Okay, less than 30. Okay.
30%, somewhere right in there. Once we start getting up to half, we're really challenging that tree because people forget about that. Trees have to have that air exchange.
Right. And you're exactly right about that. I try to mention that to folks all the time. And here's something else I see around town as well. They use the heavy mulches, and they want to plant their annuals, you know, right in that mulch.
Yes.
And then they water it to death.
Yes.
And usually what happens is that mulch is up against the trunk of the tree. So of course you're doing all that watering. It starts, you know, it starts to decay, of course.
Yes.
You know, around that tree.
Yeah, you need a balance between moisture retention and good drainage and air exchange. So finding that right material is crucial. And then, of course, picking the right plants. Some people want to put a vigorous ground cover under trees, and I say, no, you don't. A vigorous ground cover is going to take over the world, and there's going to, unless you just never want to garden there again. Because they don't know when to stop. A vigorous ground cover is not going to stop right at the edge of the tree and go, okay, I've done my work here. It's going to either, some things will climb the tree like English ivy, and some things will continue out into your turf areas, or swamp any of your ferns, hostas, or hydrangeas.
But yeah, I always wonder what, you know, the big fascination of growing things under trees like that, though, especially when you have these big oak trees that we have here in Shelby County.
Well, because it's a beautiful place to garden. I love to quote, a lot of people remember probably Plato Tuleatus, that the lowest maintenance garden in the South is a woodland garden, because he said, because the South wants to be woods. Now, it doesn't mean there aren't challenges. Certainly there will be some weed control and that kind of thing, but it's certainly easier to edit that garden in the shade than it would be out in the hot sun, and you're going to have less disease pressure. And you're going to enjoy your garden more. If you have a shade garden, let's face it, who wants to go out in their garden in July? And,
Exactly right.
You know, I'm not going to be out there nearly as much. I love shade. I grew up with shade, and I think a house should have shade. For sometimes it's very important to think about actually for conservation purposes, because we're minimizing the best way that you can lower your electric bills is to get shade on the house. That's the #1 way.
Wow.
So I know here in Memphis we're nervous about trees over the house because we've had what was the most recent storm and then Hurricane Elvis a few years ago. But there are certainly things that you can do. The types of trees that you choose can also be safer, but there's certainly gardening under trees is a great way to go. It just takes a little chance. I'll be speaking on that at our summer celebration.
Okay, good. Now, Ms. Carroll, let's talk about this. How about growing on slopes? What do you think about that?
Well, slopes are a lot of times a real issue with homeowners. We will see that they had to do maybe some severe grading to get that house or that subdivision into that property, and then you have to deal with the steep slope. We really don't like to mow slopes. It can be dangerous. It can be hard to even grow grass on them if there's a lot of erosion. So what we try to do is think about different ways to deal with it. #1, and this sounds apparent, it's not always true, is water runs downhill. I see a lot of people kind of forget about that. So if water's running down the slope and eroding your soil, #1 thing you might think about is how do I divert that water? It might take a berm across the top of that slope to divert it down to safer areas so that you can start to get something established on that slope. And if that's not possible, you're going to have to do something to stop the water running down that slope in order for those plants to take purchase. So you could do terracing, which could be a more formal kind of thing with landscape timbers or stone or pavers, or you could actually do kind of temporary things until the plant takes purchase. And I will take common sticks that I've picked up in the woods, using something like straw or pine straw, and I'm making little temporary fences.
Ah.
Just letting that straw or that pine straw was going to catch and stop that erosion while my plants take purchase. And then once the plants have grown over all that and had a chance to get their roots established, then that's going to rot and disappear and improve the soil anyway. But you can't just plant things on there, and I, of course, have some favorite plants that can cover slopes quite well. Winter jasmine is one of my favorites. It's a beautiful weeping shrub that will anchor wherever it touches the ground. Appears to be evergreen, although it's not, because it's such a dense green stem, a lot of stems coming out of that one base. It blooms in winter, January jasmine or winter jasmine, but we have to get those things established. So stop that water flow, and again, I can address this in more detail.
Wow, some good stuff. Yeah. Now for your winter jasmine, conditions, sun, shade? Winter
jasmine will take either sun or shade as long as it's got good drainage. It will not tolerate a wet site. It's a really nice plant, one of my favorite plants to use. I love it when I need to hide ugly walls, or it actually, if you plant it at the top of a tall wall, it'll cascade and almost act like a vine. And of course, I appreciate anything that blooms in the winter. Now, people may confuse it with Florida jasmine, which is not quite as hardy. Winter jasmine is a different plant. One of the scientific names that I really like, Jasminum nudiflorum, because it flowers on the nude wood, on the bare wood.
Nudiflorum.
Yes. But slopes, to me, is one of the ways that we lose a lot of soil. We need to think about how we can anchor them. Ground covers, again, are an option, but I like to see sweeps of different plant materials, and I actually prefer shrubbery over ground covers a lot of times when we have a big area.
Shrubbery over the ground cover, okay. What about grasses?
Grasses are a possibility, certainly, and grasses have good deep roots that could anchor. The thing I love about a shrub is you start computing how many ground covers you need per square foot, it turns into a lot of money very quickly, whereas the right type of shrub, a shrub selection, could cover 6 to 8 to 10 feet. You know, so you're looking at a lot fewer plants overall, and having to water that many fewer plants and take care of their anchored needs until they get established. Mulch is probably not going to stick. Forget pine nuggets, shredded bark. Pine needles or straw would work, you know, because we talked about it, as long as we use some sticks to anchor it. And some people can actually stick cuttings of plants that root easily right into that ground. Elaeagnus bingii would probably do that if it's stuck at the right time. Forsythia would be great. Forsythia roots easily. You can stick those cuttings in the ground during cool, moist times of the year. That's going to form a massive weeping shrub that's going to help stop that erosion. So that could be part of your sticks, is that these are actually plants that are going to take root and help anchor that slope.
How about planting trees, though, on slopes? Is that a good idea or not? Or?
Certainly, I think it can be. A lot of times there may be a place that you absolutely want a tree. Again, you're probably going to have to build some kind of containment system to give it support while it gets established. Perhaps a little mini wall. Think about how the water has to move around. But the thing about water runs downhill is remember that and take care of that. Stop and slow that movement of soil while they get established.
Water flows downhill, folks.
Yes. You'd think people would know that, but it's surprising. I'll go, where was the water going to go? People didn't think of it. And sometimes these are actually landscapers I've seen. You know, you didn't leave a place for the water to go. So.
How about that? Thank you again for that wonderful information, Ms. Carey. We always appreciate that.
Glad to do it.
All right.
With a lot of plants, we mulch for looks. With tomatoes, it's almost a necessity. And the reason for that is to prevent splash, maintain even soil moisture, and kind of dampens off the wet, dry spells between waterings. When you put mulch down around tomato plants, just kind of broadcast it around it, all the way out to the drip line, which is the outer edges of it, and no more than 2 inches. If it gets more than 2 inches, then the problem is going to be that it's going to stop the airflow from getting to the roots, and just like us, they need air also. A lot of the diseases associated with tomatoes are soil-borne. They're in the soil. And every time you water them, the water will bounce off the soil and into the lower leaves. So by mulching it, when you water it, reduces the chances of getting a splash on your plants.
All right, this is our Q&A segment. And Ms. Kathy, if you have something to say, just jump in there with us.
Okay.
All right, here's our first viewer email. This year I'm growing 4 determinate tomato varieties in containers. I've been suckering them. Are you supposed to sucker determinate tomato varieties? Thank you, and this is from Mr. Charles in Murfreesboro. So the question again, are you supposed to sucker determinate tomato varieties? It's the key word, determinate. What do you think about that? Determinate.
Well, really not much.
Right.
You sucker what, below the first flower cluster,
You're
and
right.
then, of course, determinate we know means they're going to get to a certain point, do their flowering and fruiting, and allegedly stop.
Allegedly, right?
Some are kind of semi-determinate, but those, you know, don't really need suckering.
They don't. And the one that comes to mind, of course, determinate is going to be celebrity. It's a determinate tomato. Yeah, they're going to get it to a certain height. Supposedly, they're supposed to stop there, right? I've known a couple of people to do this in the past, and they did it for a couple of reasons. You get more top growth, okay? And then the second is that I've been told from the old timers, you get better air circulation
Yes.
when you take those suckers out.
That's true.
You know, from those determinate tomato varieties.
That's true. If you've got a very crowded plant, you got a big cage around it, and you're keeping all that
That's
foliage
right.
all bunched up in there, then that can contribute to disease problems.
Exactly right.
So there can be times that you decide that limb's interfering. I'm taking it out, or that sucker is going to create more growth in there than I want. So the general rule of thumb is well, if you sucker, you'll have larger tomatoes, but fewer. And if you don't sucker, you'll have a lot of tomatoes that are smaller.
That's right. All right, Mr. Charles, I hope you got that. Thank you for your question. All right, here's our next via email. This year is my first time using cottonseed hull in my garden. It seems to have an insecticide smell to it. Does cottonseed hull have insecticides on it? And is this a problem? And this is from Ron. So we're talking about cotton. We know that they spray cotton a lot, right, with pesticides.
Yes.
So would it have insecticides on it, and is that a problem?
I can't imagine that it would still be on it that much. Cottonseed hulls have a distinctive odor anyway.
Yeah.
I'm actually growing in gin trash this year, and it's
okay.
got some hull and trash. It does have a distinctive smell, but I don't know that I could say it was from the insecticides. I think you'd have to run some kind of formal chemistry test to know for sure.
I would say the same. That'll be, you know, what I would go with, because I mean, of course, we do know cotton is sprayed in areas around here. I just wouldn't think.
I would think those chemicals break down.
I would think they would break down, and you wouldn't have a problem with it.
Right.
Is what I would think.
Yeah, because I mean, you used to only smell it right if you spray it anyway.
Right.
So.
And it's probably been out there for a while. It's been broken down for the most part, and I wouldn't think you would have a huge problem with it, Mr. Ron. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. Yeah. I use it. You know, I'm not scared of it.
And so your plants that you use it around didn't show any signs of
No, and they're
anything?
flourishing. Oh my gosh, the color on my vegetables this year since I got hold of the gin trash is just fabulous.
Okay.
I have to watch a little bit for the pigweed.
Right, yeah.
To make sure I don't
Those
get
seeds are
the
everywhere. Okay.
resistant pigweed.
Gin trash, you know, it's pretty big now. People, you know, gin trash, the cotton seed holes, you know. A lot of people are using those these days.
Beautiful stuff.
All right, there you go, Mr. Ron. Again, we don't think it's a big problem.
I don't.
Okay. All right, here's our next via email. What is this growth on my sweet bay magnolia? Is it harmful? And this is from Ms. Carolyn Collierville. Nice picture.
It is.
So what do you think?
It's a
We know what that is.
lichen.
It's a lichen.
Our
Yeah.
friend, the lichen.
It's the lichen. Is it harmful?
No.
Okay.
No. We like lichens. We lichens. Lichens are cool little critters, you know. They're not quite plant, they're not quite moss. I can't remember the actual technical terms for what they are, but they grow on the surface of things. Usually it means that they're growing on some tissue that is sort of dead. Now that necessarily mean that there's any wrong thing with that particular magnolia, but we'll see it on old bark where the old part of the bark is starting, or on sometimes trees that do have problems.
Right. I've seen them on rocks.
Yeah, see them on rocks.
Yeah. It's supposed to be and I remember this from biology, it's supposed to be the oldest living thing on Earth.
Wow.
Lichens.
Yeah.
You know, and I actually heard somebody say this, don't know how true it is, but it's actually an indicator of good air quality. Have you heard that before?
I have heard that.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing, but, you know, it's just a relationship between a fungus, cyanobacteria,
Yes.
you know, alga, you know. So
It's not a parasite.
It's not a parasite.
Not taking anything from your
No.
tree. It's not damaging your tree. It can be a symptom that there's some dead tissue on that tree, but that just may be old bark.
Okay, maybe old bark. All right. And here's something else, a little nugget for you. The Indians actually use this as a dye.
Oh,
Yeah,
Huh.
I actually read that.
really?
Isn't that pretty neat?
Well, there's some beautiful lichens out there.
Yeah, so some good stuff. All right, Miss Carol, so it's not a problem. All right?
Nope,
It's not harmful. So, Miss Kathy, Miss Carol, we're out of time. Thanks for being here
Thank you,
today.
Chris.
All right.
Thank you.
Remember, we love to hear from you. Send us an email or letter. The email address is familyplot@wkno.org, and the mailing address is Family Plot, 7151 Cherry Farms Road, Cordova, Tennessee 38016. Or you can go online to familyplotgarden.com. That's all we have time for today. If you want to find out more information about any of the things we talked about on today's show, head on over to familyplotgarden.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Cooper. Be sure to join us next week for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. Be safe.